Well, what's up, everyone? My name is Derek Davis Jr., and you're watching the Vigilant podcast. Today's guest, we have Pastor Reverend Dr. Rodney Smith. He's the pastor of First AME Church in Oakland, California. We're going to be talking about his life and ministry, and we're just going to get in a brief discussion about where he's been and where he's gone. So, without further ado, I introduce you to Reverend Dr. Rodney Smith. How you doing, Dr. Smith?
I'm well, my friend. Thank you, Brother Davis, for setting this up and taking the time to have me on your platform. Good day to everybody. I hope everybody is feeling great, vibing. And as I often say, we keeping these trains moving. Good
Yes,
day.
yes, amen, 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 amen. I like to hear that. Now, as I said in our discussion, you mostly know the answers to these questions, but the first question that I have for you is, who is Reverend Dr. Rodney Smith?
Um, I guess I have a lot of different titles:
Mm-hmm.
pastor, father, husband, music artist, author, rapper, community
Mm-hmm.
activist. I'm a lot of things. I think my main goal or my main theme in life is not the things or the titles, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really interested in passion, purpose, and love. I really feel like I'm called to give people an experience, which is why I'm in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think the most powerful thing on this planet is love. And so I try to bring that spirit and that energy to every single thing that I do. Because I think the bottom line is people want to feel, people want to know you care. And I think love is kind of like the foundation for all of that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, love, I agree with you. Love is important in anything you do. If you don't have love for the people, you don't have love for yourself, then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. For sure.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, the second question I have for you is, did you know you wanted to become a preacher growing up?
So I have a unique situation. When I was a child, I was very, very sick with my ears. And I had a lot of people don't know this, but I had 7 major ear surgeries before I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The last surgery that I had was kind of like the big one, which was going to determine whether or not I was going to be able to hear. And I came out of that surgery, and my hearing was restored. And when I went into that surgery, my grandmother and my mother said, "Do you trust God? If you pray, God will heal you."
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of grew up as a child, always praying, always talking to God. And as I got older, I tried to run from that because I didn't want the stigma of being the preacher boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
She became a presiding elder. And so I've been in the church my entire life. In fact, I don't ever remember not being in the church.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been praying, always been with the Lord. And when I went to Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia, I tried to do everything but be a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
I tried everything but being a pastor. And finally, after graduating, um, I knew that God was calling me to do this and I could no longer run and I had to accept that calling.
Okay, okay. Now, what, you mentioned you're calling. What do you say to those people that say I'm called? What is your best advice that you would give to that person?
I personally think that everybody has a calling. I
Okay.
think what we have to do is get clarity on what
Mm-hmm.
that calling is. Just because you are a spiritual person doesn't mean that you're called to pastor,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
think pastoring is a unique calling, but not the only calling in terms of what God calls us to. I
Mm-hmm.
personally feel like everybody has a calling, right? And I believe that ministry is birthed out of a need, right? And so wherever there's a need, God calls somebody to answer that need or to speak to that need. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important piece with that is really getting clarity on what you hear God saying, because you have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who are pastoring that ain't been called to pastor. You have a lot of people doing things just because they've been called, but
Mm-hmm.
not in the right position or not in the right space to do what it is that God has called them to do.
Okay, I agree with that. I would say everybody. I would say I agree with you about that. Everybody is called to do something. Some people have to figure out what they're called to do, whether it's ministry, whether it's singing, whether it is preaching, pastoring, and doing all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would agree with that. Now, in your bio, I read you are a proud graduate of Morris Brown College, holding a bachelor's degree in early childhood education.
Yes.
Yes. So, you hold the bachelor's degree in early childhood education. Explain what it took for you to get that. How long it took for you to get that?
Well, my family, I come from a strong legacy of educators,
Mm-hmm.
and my aunts were all teachers and administrators. And one of my aunts, God rest, RIP too, my aunt Dorothy, we shared the same birthday. She
Mm-hmm.
was a principal, educator, and then later became a principal. And by the time I got to Morris Brown College, I was trying to figure out what am I going to do uh, except be a preacher. And I
Okay.
think the closest thing that I got to being able to teach and to help people and inspire people was teaching, because I grew up with teachers in my family. And so I've always had a great passion for education and a great passion, especially for the younger generation. And so in my mind, I was going to go teach.
Mm-hmm.
After I taught, I was going to try to be a principal. After I was going to be a principal, I was going to be the superintendent. But God had another plan. So my journey took a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
At Morris Brown, I was on the extended version, but I got it done. I got it done.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, and Morris Brown, aren't you a member of a fraternity?
Yes. Phi Beta Sigma. Blue
Okay.
Phi.
Okay, okay, okay. I knew that I was doing some research. I said he's a part of a fraternity.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. So being part of the fraternity, is that does that rank as a greatest accolade you ever accomplish in your college career?
I think that's a slippery slope. I'm not gonna go as far as say the greatest.
Okay, okay.
But I will say it's up there because of the brothers that I met and what we were able to do as college students during my time at Morris Brown. On my particular line, we had the SGA president. I was the chief of staff. Another one of my line brothers was the events coordinator. So we kind of was the leaders of the whole campus. We were
Mm-hmm.
the what's called the SGA, Student Government Association. And I think we were able to do some special things, inspire some people. Um, but I grew up, when it comes to the Greek organizations, very diverse. I have friends who are alphas, friends who are omegas, kappas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was a blessing to be able to lead in an environment where everybody respected everybody and we kept the trains moving. So yes, Phi Beta Sigma is up there. I don't know if I'm gonna say it was the greatest. Um, you got to be careful when you start saying the greatest. I
Okay,
think the greatest achievement was finishing a degree,
okay.
setting a goal, completing that goal, and then everything that I did on top of that was kind of like gravy. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm-hmm.
just gravy on top of what I was able to accomplish as a student at Morris Brown College in the '90s, which was
Okay.
a whole different era. Atlanta in the '90s, that's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Now, in you mentioned that you are a a accomplished recording artist whose music blends gospel, R&B, soul, neo soul, and jazz. And uh, explain to the viewers what made you want to become an artist, if you don't mind.
So, growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, one of the biggest things I had growing up, my mother used to put on a Christmas Eve party every
Mm-hmm.
year, and it was like the biggest thing of the year. I mean, this was lights, camera, action.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, me and my cousins would practice months in advance. We started practicing in the summer for the Christmas party in December. And that Christmas party was the typical African American family. Imagine we got the boom box and we're doing New Edition, Run DMC. We're entertaining all of the older members in the family. So that's kind of where like music started with me. I just had an
Mm-hmm.
infatuation because I grew up when hip hop was really taking off,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and I just had an infatuation with how music made people feel. I never forgot that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously, you get into the slippery slope when you start talking about contemporary music versus gospel music. But I felt like there was a need. I felt like something was missing in contemporary music. Gospel music is clear, contemporary music, not so clear.
Mm-hmm.
And after the fire that took First AME Church down in Oakland, as I was sitting there looking at the fire, something just fell in my spirit. It was like, oh, and everything is gonna be all right. You will rebuild, and you're gonna go to the studio and start doing music. So I
Mm-hmm.
did it just playing around, and something just happened in that studio that was magical. And I knew it was gonna ruffle some feathers. I knew everybody wasn't gonna understand it. But like I said to you, I personally feel called to do music about inspiration and about love, to tell stories of what everyday people are going through. And I keep it clean, I keep it happy, and I keep it funky. So I just keep the trains moving.
Okay. And you mentioned the fire at First AME. From my understanding, didn't you that happened when did that happen?
But it happened 3 years ago, February, and we are in the process now of rebuilding and redefining what our church is going to look like. Everything changed for us. It went from depressive
Mm-hmm.
to massive growth. I mean, it's just been amazing to see the energy at Fame Oakland on Sunday. I mean, the people, we have to rent out a church, so we only have 2 hours to set up,
Mm-hmm.
do our service, and get out. And the people at First Stand Me Oakland have been absolutely amazing. I could not imagine being anywhere else but here. When you have good leadership and people that get behind you and push you, it just makes life amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing multi-generational uh, groups come to our church. The young people's department has exploded. We have an altar full of young people, and now we're focusing on our young adults and of course our seniors. So the real the real heroes are the good people of Fame Oakland, I must say. They make it happen. I have an amazing leadership team.
Okay, amen to that. Now, it it's like now we're gonna go into something deep. If you are down and out, and you know that this ain't going nowhere, I'm feeling burnt out. Who do you call on?
Well, outside of God,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that's I use this term. I've been using this term, tribe. I just literally did a song about what's your tribe, and your tribe can be your family. It could be your inner circle. It could be your support system. But I truly believe that everybody needs a tribe. Everybody needs somebody that they can lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Sundays used to be very, if I'm gonna be a little transparent here, I used to be very depressed on Sundays. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you go to church, you preach, you go out to eat with the family, and then I would be sitting at home like, man, I'm lonely. This something is off. Something doesn't feel right. And so music became my therapy. I love going to the studios on Sunday. Listen, I love going to my office just to write when everybody has left the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I thank God for is that God has given me that support system, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have people that love me. I have people that support me. I have people that know how to lift me up when I'm down. And I thank God for my family. And my family is my tribe, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
separate it. So when you have a strong family, when you have a strong tribe, you're able to navigate things that you wouldn't be able to navigate on your own. One of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of pastors make is that they're trying to do it by themselves. And you can't do it by yourself. You need support. You need
Amen.
that outlet. You need a place to go that you're not always on 10 and always the pastor. And so I'm thankful that I have that. Great question. Thank you.
Okay, okay, amen to that. Amen. And also, you didn't you meet your wife at college?
Yeah, she was actually the queen at Morris Brown College.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is, we didn't date until after we both had graduated. But we were in the same friend group, and we connected after we had graduated. Morris Brown College is a unique place because it was one of those things that the people who you meet there are your friends for life. My
Mm-hmm.
children call all of my close friends auntie and uncle, right?
Okay.
So it had that type of environment. It had that type of atmosphere. And yes, we were both there. We were both in the same friend group. And after we graduated, we reconnected.
Okay. And she's a preacher as well.
Yeah, she's a strong preacher. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she's also part of the Divine Nine. And yep, she keeps the trains moving too.
Okay. 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 Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where do I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years? Fame Oakland will have its own facility. We will be a thriving church in the Bay Area. I believe that other churches who are in um, city churches and urban churches will probably study what Fame did. How did y'all grow? How did y'all do what y'all did? We lead from the perspective of we're trying to get it. We're trying to
Mm-hmm.
understand. And I'm excited about what the next 5 to 10 years holds. I will be one of the biggest artists in the world. I will have books, conferences. Yeah, we own one. We're trying to do something great, not just for our community, but throughout the world. So I see a global vision,
Mm-hmm.
not just for my church, but for myself.
Okay. Okay. And also, um, you where where do you want to go in the AME church?
Um, well, that's a tricky question. I don't really want to go anywhere. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do right now. If you're referring to running for office, which would be general officer or bishop or something like that, um, my work is not finished here.
Okay.
That would have to be a calling that I feel like the fathers and mothers of the church would have to see me as a person who could add value to that space.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not one that would just be out there just for the fun of being out there. It would have to make sense, right? So I'm not there yet. I'm enjoying the space that I'm in and really just enjoying what God has for me right now in Oakland.
Okay. Well, amen to that. Now, Our last question that I have for you that I ask everyone: if you were to die tomorrow, what do you want to be remembered by?
I would want to be remembered of a person who gave passion and love to everything I did. That when you were around me, you felt different when you left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intentional about that. Giving love and giving my energy in those kind of spaces means a lot to me. The people who know me intimately, the people who know me on a more personal level know that, I have a lot of energy. I got a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've been put on this earth not to keep it to myself, but to give it. The greatest thing you can give is a portion of yourself. And I do that because I want to see people heal. I want to see people whole. I want to see people vibrant. I want to see people alive. And that's the reason why I do what I do.
Okay, amen to that. Amen to that. Now, we have reached the interview. First of all, I want to thank you, Reverend Dr. Smith, for joining me on this podcast, Vigilant. Um, uh, I will share this link for you to you. If anyone wants to support me, the my Cash App links in the bio. Um, can you enter us out with a word of prayer or any final remarks that you have?
Yes, to anybody out there, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, today is a new day, a day that none of us have seen. So I'm going to say a prayer that God will shift your day and that today will be the most amazing day. I pray that you get clarity of mind. I pray that God will reveal himself to you. I pray that you know that you are loved. If you haven't been told it, I'm telling you, I love you. I pray that you know it will get better. If you're going through something, if you feel heavy, if you feel down, the greatest mistake we make is carrying the weight of what other people are thinking. For a moment, for a second, breathe and know that God's got you. Listen, this is Pastor Rodney. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Be blessed.
Amen. 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 And I will share this link with you when I get it published. All I request is like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and thank you all for watching.
Peace.